So a couple things here when you said immigration. I want to show you something with immigration which was shocking to me when I pulled up the data. So I looked at what countries most residents, new permanent residents, are coming into Canada, because a number starts around 2022. Rob, if you can show up the data that shows the spike in immigration, it's that one right there. So you look at this, the net international migration from 1952 to 2023, you're getting some people coming in, maybe 200,000 on average, 100,000 on average. All of a sudden, boom, 1.2 million. And I looked at the numbers. In 2022, the number one country that immigrants came in from, 27% was Indians, 118. China's number two, then Afghanistan, Nigeria, Philippines, France, Pakistan, Iran, U.S., then Syria. This is 2022. 2023, India, China, Philippines, Afghanistan, Nigeria, Pakistan, Cameroon, Eritrea, Iran, U.S. 2024, India, Philippines, China, Cameroon, Nigeria, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, France. Okay. Then I pulled up a number just to kind of see. In Canada, in 1991, according to the Canadian census, the Muslim population in Canada was 0.9%. The Muslim population today in Canada is 5%. Okay. That's based on your census that you have.
You're right about it.
And then the other number that was also shocking is in 2023, population grew by 1.27 million in Canada. Of the people that grew, the number of kids that you guys had that contributed to the 1.27 million was only 2.4%. 97.6% were people that came in from other countries. That's not necessarily a growth that some people would call that an invasion. So
a replacement.
Right. Replacement could be one of them. So how different are your policies versus Poilievre when it comes onto this?
Poilievre is okay with mass immigration. His number right now is 250 foreigners every year, starting if he's prime minister. 250,000. For us, it's zero. No more. We are not able to integrate them into our society, and that's destroying our social fabric. The countries that you just quote, a lot of them are not sharing Western civilization values. And we don't do any screening. We must change that. When we will reopen to immigration, we need to have a face-to-face interview with them. We don't have that anymore. We need to be sure that they share Canadian values. In Canada, don't forget also, we have a legislation in Canada, and the federal government is promoting multiculturalism. So we are saying to people, come to our country, keep your culture, and, everything is okay. If you don't integrate into our society, it's okay. So we have Indian ghettos in BC, Burnaby. We have ghettos also in Brampton, Ontario. And there's no incentive for them to come and to integrate into our society. And actually, before that, we were asking them to speak at least English or French. We have two official languages in Canada, English and French. That was a condition a couple of years ago to come to Canada, to be an immigrant. And now it's not anymore. So they don't speak the language. They're going in a ghetto. They don't integrate. That's changing the social fabric of our country. But Poilievre won't speak about that. He's pandering to these ethnic communities to have votes in different ridings and more seats. So that's what he's doing. That is part of his strategy, because now, all these immigrants that are coming, they're foreigners, they will vote conservative or they will vote liberal. But if you do a big survey, 65% of the population is okay to end mass immigration in Canada. And also a majority of immigrants, but older immigrants, people who came here 15 years ago because it was tough for them to come here. They had to speak English and French, and they have to prove that they will have a job. It was tough. It took them maybe years. And now they're looking at that. Everybody can come in Canada with no screening, nothing. It's unfair, and they don't want that, and they're right about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And by the way, when you're speaking about to the audience in Canada, what comparison are you making? What comp? Meaning, let's just say if I'm buying a house, and I say I'm willing to buy this house for $900,000, but I'm a realtor. What are the comps on the property? The guy next door sold for $820. The house next door sold for $817. The house next door is that similar size to you sold $805. It's not really a $900,000 house. It's really an $815,000 house. Okay, great. I'm getting comps. What country, when you guys are looking what Canada can turn into if it goes this way the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, what do you see happening if they don't change their immigration policies?
if we don't change our immigration policy, our standard of living will go down. Right now, the impact of mass immigration on housing, like you just said,
it's scary what's going on there with real estate.
Yeah, it's scary. A young family cannot buy a house downtown
I saw
Toronto,
that.
downtown Montreal, or downtown Vancouver. And the solution for that, it's a question of, supply and demand. And my solution is just cut the demand. All these people need a roof, and you need to stop that. But for Poilievre, he said we need to build more houses. But actually, 10 years ago, we were building in Canada about 250,000 houses a year, 10 years ago. And now we are still building 250,000 houses a year. And Statistic Canada said that just to match the demand, we need to build 700,000 houses a year. So that's not the solution for the housing crisis in our country. The solution is to have that moratorium on immigration. And I'm not speaking about, the fact that the standard of, the pie, the economic pie is growing in Canada because you have so many people, but the GDP per capita is going down. So our piece of the pie is smaller. Yeah, because the population is growing faster than the GDP. So all that mass immigration, created, the fact that we are poor for the last 10 years, we didn't grow. Our GDP per capita didn't grow. So that's why people are okay with ending mass immigration. But I'm the only one who's speaking about that in Canada.
When I was looking at what Poland did, Dominic Tarczynski, where he said nobody can come here, they're not for immigration, and they don't want to go by the demands that EU has with what happened with UK, of course, UK Brexit. There's a fellow who had a video that went viral in Canada talking about Sharia law. I want to share this with you. I want to get your thoughts to see how people in Canada feel about this. Is this even a concern that other families are bringing up? Rob, if you don't mind playing this clip, it'd be great. Go for it.
By 2060, Muslims will be the biggest religious group the world over. What are you going to do then? Actually, to oppose Sharia is even then? We have families, we are making babies. You're not. Our population is going down the slump. One day we can have a Muslim majority nation here in Canada. Right in your face.
You say that you want Sharia law to displace Canadian law. That doesn't sound very respectful.
In majority, you wouldn't have any other option, my friend. Islam doesn't endorse gayism. Islam doesn't endorse homosexuality. The gay people are doing is against the commandments of God.
We have Canadian law here, and you say that you want Sharia law to displace Canadian law. That doesn't sound very respectful.
In majority,
you can pause
wouldn't
it
have
right
any
there,
other
Rob.
option.
Is this a concern in Canada that Canada can turn into the next UK of the West?
Not now. Not now, but when I'm speaking, I'm telling that to people, like in France, there's no go zone over there. In UK also, because of mass immigration and the non-integration of these immigrants. And but it's coming more and more. People are fed up more and more.
About this specific topic, because the Muslim population in Canada grown from 1991 till now from 0.9% to 5%.
Yeah.
That's 500%. That's a big growth that they've had. Is that a concern? Because those
it's becoming a concern. For example, in Toronto, now they're a pressure group. The Muslim community are pressuring, provincial governments to adopt some, laws that will, financial law that will be in line with their philosophy to be, as you know, they cannot pay interest. So there's kind of an arrangement and some regulations at the provincial level to allow them to be able to have, a mortgage without paying any interest. So they are coming more and more influential politically. The answer is yes. But in the main population, that's not a real concern. The real concern is mass immigration now. There's no focus. But we need, radical Islam is present in Canada. That ideology is there. We need to fight that for sure.
What is this, Rob? They just pulled up.
This is a chart showing from 2001 to 2021, just in 20 years, that the Muslim population in Canada has more than doubled from 2.0% to 4.9% across the country.
Yeah.
How is crime in Canada? I'm curious.
Oh, my God. Very bad. Very bad because for Trudeau, he was not tough on crimes. And, we did pass legislation when I was a conservative at that time to be really tough on crime. But now, crimes in big cities are, I don't have the data, but if you look at the statistic, they're double than what they were 10 years ago. So, yeah, you can see that in Canada.
It's doubled from, you said, from...
Yeah, the last 10 years. Yeah.
And this, okay, so is that a...
And that's a concern, actually. And that's why I'm very pleased what President Trump did. President Trump decided to actually...
Wow.
Look at that, yeah.
When did Trudeau get elected?
2015.
Look at that.
Yeah, 2015.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And Trump, what I like from Trump, he said, protect your borders. Be sure to fight crimes and all these drug traffickers. And now, after 9 years, Trudeau decided, and the Liberal government decided to do that. But we needed Trump to push our government to work for Canadians. The first role of a leader of a country is to protect your population. The first role of a government is the safety of their own citizens. And the Liberals did zero yet the last 9 years. And now, because of Trump, now the federal government is investing and fighting crimes. It's new, but it's coming. But look, yeah, that's the after.
And by the way, you mentioned Stephen Harper, right?
Yeah.
You said Stephen Harper. So Stephen Harper
was prime minister
from 06 till 15.
Yes.
Right? Go back to that chart, Rob. So if you go from 2006, declined from what it was to what did he do to lower crime the way that he did in Canada? That's very impressive.
Yeah, we passed legislation, and actually, but the bad thing is all our legislation that we passed at that time, minimum sentences and things like that, the Supreme Court of Canada said it's unconstitutional. So a couple of years later, these legislation are not in force anymore, and Trudeau was happy with that, and look what happened.
Nowadays, more than ever, the brand you wear reflects and represents who you are. So for us, if you wear a Future Looks Bright hat or a Valuetainment gear, you're telling the world, I'm optimistic. I'm excited about what's going to be happening, but you're a free thinker. You question things. You like debate. And by the way, last year, 120,000 people got a piece of Future Looks Bright gear with Valuetainment. We have so many new things. The cufflinks are here. New Future Looks Bright. This is my favorite, the green one. Just yesterday, somebody placed an order for 100 of these. If you watch the PBD podcast, you got a bunch to choose from. White ones, black ones. If you smoke cigars and you come to our cigar lounge, we have this high quality lighter cutter and a holder for the cigars. We got sweaters with the Valuetainment logo on it. We got mugs. We got a bunch of different things. But if you believe the future looks bright, if you follow our content and what we represent with Valuetainment, with PBD Podcast, go to vtmerch.com. And by the way, if you order right now, there's going to be a special VT gift inside just for you. So again, go to vtmerch.com, place your order, tell the world that you believe the future looks bright. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.